over nose, just going to the classic sort of hammerhead, letting that nose drop. And what is really interesting about this aircraft, and you'll see it again with the F-18 later on today, is just how little airspace is used by these modern designs. The Russians certainly come up with some outstanding aircraft designs over the years, and they just get a lot of them still. Jet jockeys, as we refer to them, always preferring the derry turn as well, turning the left and the manoeuvring right, a good fighter evasion tactic. This time Adrian going to set up a 9-inch bus. Going to a series of bumps, roller coaster style. Maybe not, just very very bad. It's much different from the but this is where I think through a few of those little bumps. Of course, in there, of course, the Ukrainian, the Slav, of course, here now. There you see it, yes, very high rate. But neatly on the ground, very hard turn landing, strangely shoot. Still a bit of aerodynamic work just. Okay, now I'll leave the whole thing with you then. Tell us all about it. Go ahead. So leading the pack here is uniform radio. They used to be owned by James Gilmore, I think Floyd, when it was retired from the airport, and subsequently passed to a number of owners, which we were lucky enough to acquire it about 4 or 5 years ago. That's followed by G-Tip, Tango India Mike Jackson. We'll talk a bit more about the liveries later. Coming in now for a Vic canopy up pass. A nice camera moment. And then they're actually going to turn left and they're going to go into what's called the bleed loop. Now this is not a fully vertical loop. If you imagine a loop turned on its side by about 45 degrees. They'll still pull quite a lot of G-force during this manoeuvre, but not as much as you'll see when they break into the more dynamic second section of the display later on. So round the back there, accelerating probably 300 plus knots,
at 350 miles an hour, pulling probably about 4G. They're sitting about 6 to 8 feet apart, coming back around the front, and you get a nice belly up camera shot just here, 350. When they were in service, they didn't have smoke in their training role, the flight training role, where they were based at RAF Odiham for the fast jets training program, and many, almost all fast jet pilots in the air formation, the 3-ship barrel roll. So pulling up now, and they're going to roll left. And they go all the way around, informated, and out to the left. Now the Gnat first flew in 1955, so it's quite a vintage jet, and the technology in it is far from computerized. It's just what we would call mandrolic. It's hydraulic and electrical. The canopy up pass. This is the best shot you'll get of all three in what we call an echelon right formation. Now the charity, the Heritage Aircraft Trust, the owns and funds the F1, the Gnat F1 fighter project, G-Slayer, as we've called it. We'll tell you about that later. But if you look right ahead of you, coming towards you in your 12 o'clock, down what we call the B-axis, is the Gnat display team for the opposition brake. 800 miles an hour in front of your eyes. And I think you'll agree the smoke from these little jets is very good. A manoeuvre where they'll cross at the back again, and then back at the front again. So you get 3 opposition passes and chances to capture that perfect shot of them passing each other. Now coming in the third, fourth line training scheme. Gnat just pulling up in front of your eyes now into a half Cuban. He'll go over the top of that and then roll the right way up and disappear to reposition for the next manoeuvre. In the meantime, if you look to your left, you'll see Chris Eames following this time, not leading Kev Wyman. So number 1 following number 2. And this is called the smoking barrel. Chris Eames will barrel roll around the smoke trail of Kev Wyman as they pass in front of you down the crowd line left to right. Showing off the manoeuvrability of this pretty little jet.
Well, I'm not too worried because it's a tiny cockpit and I'm quite a big fella, and I would have missed it because when I went through Provost training, the Hawk is pretty much coming to service, so I would have missed it altogether. But it's an aircraft you sort of fit onto you, really, isn't it?
You definitely strap it on. Now this one, the guy to the right mark is going to see it, the 2 guys coming to the left, straight in the middle.
Very clear.
So they're just changing now from a line of stern.
Another one as well. I mean, you're going to be back to the Red Arrows, so you're only circa 1966.
Well, there's a potential for us to actually get 2 more in the next 2 years. We certainly know about the first one, which is this F1 fighter, which will be something slightly different, because very few people in this country will have seen a single-seat fighter Gnat, because they were only ever operated by the Indians and in war, and also in peacetime by the Finns.
Yeah. Well, we really appreciate you talking through that. I thought it was eloquently done, Ollie. People won't know this, but I've known Ollie for some while, and it's very rare that you get him on the microphone. And I think we all enjoyed that. So well done. Thanks for your support, everybody. And that was the Gnat display team, and we really look forward to lots more of that next year.
Thank you very much.
Supported by an ASAC-7 from 849 Squadron. Following on that, we've got 3 Merlin Mark IIs. And then some of your favourite aircraft is the HMA Mark 8 from 815 Squadron and 2 HMA Mark 2s from 825 Squadron. Running in over the top, we'll very shortly see 2P1 Hawks from 736 dollars. As we celebrate all that is best in the Fleet Air Arms Royal Navy Aviation, carrier falling right in front of you. Are leaving the service already. And one would hope the various preservation groups will be doing their best to keep on the two of them.
able to see Andy Evans as Barney has ever taken centre stage. And this next manoeuvre is a launchback. He demonstrates incredibly well. This is also Czechoslovakian for headache or hangover, as some of you could well imagine that feeling as you're flying in that hole. Now taking you one step to the left, you'll be able to see blades 1, 2 and 3, showing off the roll capability of our extras. This is for the twinkle roll. Give them a huge wave as they fly across the display line, please ladies. To rejoin them. Now something else that I may not have mentioned, the Blaze Aerobatic display team are the only aerobatic display team out there that also acts as an airline. So people just like yourself in the crowd can come and fly with us at Sywell, Northamptonshire. I'm sure we'll tempt you more as the display goes on. As I said earlier on, Aerobatic are one of our sponsors. They're incredibly special. They specialise in providing world-leading flight safety. So we personally think it's an absolute honour they want to put outstanding go on our wing. This is for them. This is dedicated to Aerobatic Ben. Some of you may recognise from the previous Yorkshire Tea advert, as blades 1, 2, 3 and 4 pull up into the vertical, stall over to the left of the hammerhead. Again, only flying 12 feet apart from each other. And as some of you may recognise, we're in the new Yorkshire Tea advert too. Next useful manoeuvre is dedicated to those very few supporting the Bank of Britain. This is the Spitfire roll. As they pull up over, pulling up to 5G. Now if you want to know what 5G is like, just imagine 5 lots of yourself pushing back on you as you're flying upside down in the cockpit. This is those of the extras Helston again. Up to 400 miles per hour, head to head. Trust no badge of 12 feet apart.
And you get a chance to have a really exciting day out and be really well entertained. They're a really super bunch of guys, and you can see what they do. It is terrific stuff indeed. Really sporting aircraft, and again, hugely popular in aerobatic
officer training over at Dartford in the Officer College. They then come to Culdrose to study the on 750 squadron, and they use the King Air Avenger with its emulating software and hardware for that to emulate the frontline aircraft. So what do they do?
a lot of interesting aircraft come, not least the fabulous sound and sight of the Corsair with Alan Way coming in from the left. Alan, well known amongst air display veterans in the circuit in the United Kingdom. Very consummate and capable display pilot indeed, and very privileged to be flying yet another one of the Fighter Collections aircraft here this afternoon. Transport Corsair was introduced in 1940. Boasted the most powerful engine along with the largest diameter propeller of any fighter aircraft. The result of this engine and propeller combination was the first fighter to exceed 400 miles an hour. Corsairs were built right up until 1952, giving the type the honour of having the longest production run of any American piston engine fighter. Engagement for the Corsair was with the US Marine Corps operating from a makeshift land base across the Pacific. It was not until later that she was operated from aircraft carriers, initially with the British Fleet Air Arm. The Corsair proved to be a formidable air superiority fighter during World War II. Very much was scared of the skies across the Pacific and continued to deliver excellent service into the later years of the Korean War. Feel, and as well as hear, the sheer exhilaration and perhaps fear that this aircraft may well have put into the seat of the opposition. This aircraft was built under license by the Goodyear Aircraft Corporation at their facility in Akron, Ohio. It was accepted by the US Navy on the 9th of April 1945. It was initially dispatched to Guam in the Pacific, being allocated to the Aircraft Pool Air Wing 2. Legendary stunt pilot Frank Tarman, and in his book, The Great Plains, he tells about this being his all-time favourite. An extremely original example of the type, never really fully restored. Being one of the few still flying with plastic wings. Here carries on a strong tradition with the Royal this fleet air arm, painted in the colours of KV 345 of 1850 Squadron during December 1945, when they were embarked on HMS Vengeance of the British Pacific Fleet. Good look at the top side here from Alan and this beautiful machine giving the wave, staying high. Again, one of many pilots giving up their time on weekends to bring these super aircraft around the country.
That is one of the squadron's QHIs, qualified helicopter instructors. So his main job, day to day, is to teach the squadron's junior and senior pilots how to fly the aircraft and keep an eye on their progress throughout their careers. On the left hand, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give a big cheer and a big wave for the 2015 Royal Air Force Chinook display team. Spiraling down to that nose over 450, the aircraft is in a position to crown left, and it's going to carry out a pedal turn. The pedal turn is very similar to the short turn in Vixen. So unlike a conventional helicopter, the Chinook uses a different method of changing the altitude and speed of the aircraft. This is called differential collective pitch. Essentially, you change the lift difference between the two heads, which changes the desired attitude. The next manoeuvre is an up and down manoeuvre. We call it the roller coaster, and this will expertly demonstrate the differential collective pitch we've just been talking about. So Brett will pull back on the cyclic, increasing the lift on the front head, decreasing the lift on the aft head, pitching the aircraft up. Now pushing forward on the cyclic stick, decreasing the lift on the front head, increasing on the aft head, achieving the desired attitude you see now. Display are just to show off the performance of the aircraft. They're not necessarily operationally relevant to the aircraft. However, after this next wing over, the next manoeuvre, which is my favourite manoeuvre of the aircraft, is what we call the nose down 270 quick stop. Like I said, it's got operational context. It's what we use to stop the aircraft going from approximately 120 miles an hour like it is now to 0 in the area of about a football pitch. Approximately 1,000 feet, he's going to get the nose down and perform a spiral descent. So as I said before, not only have we got two pilots sat in the front of the aircraft, we've also got a 4 crewmen down the back, strapped in on a tether, stood up through most of the display. Spend most of the display at the front door, where there's less practice and forces acting on him. Right about now, Ben will be unclicking himself and sprinting his way down the back end of the cabin to get ready for the next manoeuvre, the crown wave. So after another linking wing over, Brett will carry out another quick stop, and you'll see the ramp come down. Sergeant Ben Howard with a big Dago hand. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, give him a wave as closely, you can see two of our three underslung load hooks. The two hooks you can see can carry 5 tons, and the one that's in the middle of the aircraft currently stowed away can carry 11.3 tons. Not only can we take external loads, we can take heavy internal loads, with an all-up mass up to 24.5 tons. Currently the aircraft will weigh approximately 14 tons, so around 12,000 pounds. See the Chinook lane flap that we all know and love. Okay, position is crowd left. The crew are going to perform another nose over 180 to position for a running landing. The running landing is what we use in a power limited situation. So it reduces the load on the engines, allowing us to carry out a safe landing, which is a relatively fast running landing and the restricted, which we touch on at almost 0 ground speed. So close in the right hand door, you can see Sergeant Ben Howard giving you a wave, slightly smaller hand this time. Another unique capability of this helicopter due to its undercarriage configuration is the fact that it can reverse down the runway on just its back wheel. Well, thank you, Andy Caldwell. Really outstanding display. One of the most popular displays on the Evo. Hunter Teaser, played by Chris Keith. Fuselage with a single jet exhaust at the rear. That configuration, you see that beautiful top side view final prototype flew in June of 1950. Meanwhile, the other specifications required at the time in the late 40s, the daytime jet-powered interceptor led to the union of the Rolls-Royce Avon turbojet, new axial compressor which resulted in a much smaller engine diameter and better thrust. Service with the Royal Air Force as an interceptor aircraft, the type being the first jet aircraft produced by Hawker for the Royal Air Force.
this aircraft was going to be a great success. The old adage and words, if it looks right, it flies right, and this aircraft certainly takes all of us. Combat range of 385 miles, service ceiling of 50,000 feet, and a rate of climb of 17,000 feet. Thoroughbred British jet as well. A real success story and a gorgeous looking aircraft in suppression of enemy defences, air interdiction, close air support and aerial reconnaissance. Flying at a relatively early age, and after passing the screening course which the Swiss Air Force undertake, he went on to train on the PC-7 and then the Hawk Mark 66 and moved on eventually to the F-5 Tiger. And he'll just be setting himself up now for the final high-speed pass again. We're limited to 600 knots, but I can assure you that's pretty quick enough. Here we go! And very safely back down. Superb performance. Well done, Teddy. Great climb from the Swiss Air Force. Seconds. And then they'll set up straight into their profile. We'll be dropping in and out of the cockpit with them as well. Now here you're going to see a very consummate and very tight demonstration of pairs aerobatic flying. I mentioned these guys were joined at the hip. Well, they just think and feel their way through this display like the old hands and friends that they are. As their case, been display flying for well over 25 years, started off in a kit special. He also displays the Spitfire and the P-51 Mustang for the old flying machine company. Must have in the region of 10,000 hours by now, I would have thought, so a lot of that on single-engine piston aircraft flying. As well as power flying, he was the UK gliding champion on 8 occasions and holds a whole series of records himself. Andy Hill, equally well known, light aircraft test pilot and the next Royal Air Force Harrier GR7 instructor. He instructs on the JP, the extra 300 small dogs, teaches aerobatics and combat maneuvers. Playing along here with Alistair, he also flies other formation displays in the Hunter, Bulldog, solo aerobatic displays in the JP. He and his wife, they're both airline captains with over 12,000 hours each. And then they're building another RB, this time RB3. If you'll feel this now. Just a simple one word, and the wingman knows exactly what is going to happen. Stay in line of stern, let's go for a barrel roll. Driving in now, let's up into a right hand. Just look how tight Andy Hill is there, right under the tail of Alistair. Great aircraft, retaining the fighter-like feel of center-line seating, but the wider fuselage. It's got a cockpit that accommodates quite large people in comfort, 2 baggage compartments, 1 forward and 1 aft, and therefore a very, very useful touring aircraft as well. The large 42-gallon fuel capacity and efficient airframe provide long range and high cruise speeds to long distances. Speed, agility, excellent climb rate here, all providing good options for dealing with all sorts of weather and terrain. This sort of flying is not available for the general touring aircraft you see normally around the UK, but this is a very exciting and responsive aircraft indeed. So stand by now. Website to fly to help.org, and you can learn more about them and sitting now, they'll turn back towards us, just looking gorgeous in this beautiful sky this afternoon. quickly dips into line astern, seamlessly with very, very few commands. Again, Andy tucking in really tightly just under the tail there of Alistair. Of course, thousands of hours of experience and indeed practice going into this every season. So stand by now, all you lovers that are still with us out there. This is the opportunity to dedicate the next manoeuvre to your favourite loved one who will be with you, I hope, the Aviator's heart. And quintessential preparation. Boys and girls, mums, dads, whatever you got, they're going into a bit of cross-controlling. Side stiff here, yes, arms, legs, hats, coats, flight strings, whatever you got. Alistair Kay and Andy Hill, you can see them waving to you quite clearly. That is the Aviators. Andy having to put up with a bit of smoke. And we're just ensuring that Andy and Alistair go down the runway so we can get John Beattie in his Seafire out and up in the air as soon as possible.
It's on a break from land and sea. I've been very privileged to convert it to the aircraft, and it is an absolute joy to fly. It's run by John Beattie, who's the pilot from the organisation up at Weald, and he has the privilege to fly the aircraft today. I had it at a very young period. Obviously, I'm very envious with John flying today this particular aircraft, because they are delightful to fly, especially on today's, like I say, it's going up to about 3,000 feet before coming back down again, so it goes up to about half a mile up before it's accelerating back down again towards the crowd. And John Beattie really does like his unbound loop that he's just done there, which gives a bit of a flavour depending on what the wind is actually giving him. The aircraft itself came to service basically in about 1942 when it started to come back into the carrier, and from there we basically served all the way through into sort of the 50s, and obviously when the sea period was in post as well. The interesting thing for us, especially in this detail, was the Far East, which is operating out there, as in the Corsair, the reason why we didn't have a white red roundel in the middle of the aircraft was because the Americans were also operating out there with choice and anything that was kept ready. And obviously the Galley aircraft are very graceful, and you can do some very nice large manoeuvres as the aircraft manoeuvres gently around the sky, and I can guarantee he's not enjoying himself too much. Obviously I'll be very privileged to be allowed to fly the actual aircraft for Aviation, and also Tim Mann has been very kind to loan the aircraft a little bit to the Royal Navy to allow us to continue the big distance training while we wait for the sea crew to come out and maintain that sort of skill set that goes along with the actual aircraft itself. The aircraft was successful, but it wasn't quite as successful as the Corsair itself, because small wheels very close in as the Spitfire has, or the Seafire in this particular case, but had a tendency of as they landed on the deck in a quite hard environment, at the end of it, it all depended on how much stuff was done on the inside area of the wing. And once they got to a certain level, that was it. The aircraft would have been doing up to just about 330 to 340 knots, and his last pass here, he'll be just rustling back up to about 280 knots, so that's just shy of 300 miles an hour before his last manoeuvre, before then breaking to land. Obviously, with all the big distance engine aircraft, visibility out the front is fantastic, so it'll take a nice little time to make sure everything is good before putting it back. A bit more than your Ford Focus.
We've got a small team at Yeovilton, just around about 10 now, semi-working, semi-volunteers, and you can see the paint glistening in the amount of work they're putting into making sure not only is she right, but she looks right as well. So here she comes in on the B-axis. She'll be pulling up to the vertical, 4G. Gently under control, we don't want to overstress her. And you'll see she's a large aircraft for a fighter. The design for the Sea Vixen was laid down in 1946, quite amazing. And I think one of the aspects of that is if you look at the cockpit, you can see the pilot sits up proud in the bubble cockpit, just like modern fighters. And of course this was part of the lessons of the Second World War, where fighter pilots wanted to be able to dogfight and see. And so this aircraft had a very good vision for the pilot.
You sound like a poor observer. I can't see what you call the coal hole, is that right?
I thought you might say that, George. Yeah, he was in the coal hole. He had a little window. And imagine landing on an aircraft carrier and all you could see out was to the right.
Oh, horrible. Oh, but look, a superb topside pass now from Simon. Really showing off.
I was talking about Simon, and he left the Royal Navy. Anyway, here she comes in from the B-axis, pulling up, and then he'll go around the dirty up. Now, Simon's got about 9,000 hours, and I think he's going 26 tons in command. I think he's up the majestic side. Slow, controlled. He's still trying to slow down by the looks of it. You can see that hook down. Here he goes. So he's going to do a 360 return, so he'll go right round in a circle. In the Navy, if you came in over the top of an aircraft carrier, you put your hook down, it told everybody you were going to land. That's one of the signals that you use. And sometimes we didn't want to talk on the radios.
Yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? In pre-sort of electronic warfare days.
Well, all the time with the ships at sea, you don't want to be talking on the radio because you don't want people to find you.
Yeah.
You know, an aircraft carrier is extremely elusive. They move at 25, 30 knots if they need to. You know, in hours they can be a long way away. And if you don't talk, then people don't know where you are, and that's part of the value of the aircraft carrier. And also it's part of it. It's out there with Vixen and the Union Jack. Here she is, coming around again.
But the ship's going to lurch up there.
Yeah, the ship's lurched, you've got a problem on deck, there's a bit of an emergency, wave off, wave off, wave off. And in a moment he'll do it, because he can't hear what I'm saying, but on the radio he would.